Okay, this is the impact of the fall of the universe cosmos. First of all, the impact on belief. Many proofs for the existence of God have been advanced across the years. None can compare in power to the proof of the existence of an architect of the universe by pointing to the great vault of heaven. The power of the proof was the simplicity of the argument. No tortuous chain of reasoning and no erudite definitions were required. The vault of heaven was an exhibit available for all to see. The vault was not a mysterious natural phenomenon like reproduction. The vault was an obvious artifact. As such, it could be understood by a direct analogy with human artifacts. Just as a recognition of a human artifact proved the existence of a human artist, so the recognition of the great vault proved the existence of a divine artist, architect, creator. When the vault of heaven was exposed by Halley as an optical illusion, this most powerful of the proofs of the existence of God was dissolved. The word cosmos continued in use as a synonym for the universe. The universe was, however, no longer the completed product of a divine artist. It was not the embodiment of a divine idea. The heavens were no more perfect than earth. With the discovery of exploding stars, the heavens fell from the pedestal of order and permanence. Even a world war seems far less violently chaotic than a supernova. The application of the word cosmos to this universe clearly demonstrates that the word had lost its meaning. Although a more accurate understanding of the universe has been achieved, the rational grounds for belief in God have been weakened. We are no longer compelled by the evidence to believe. Rational belief in God is now a matter of balancing arguments for and against. The alternatives are to believe, not to believe, to suspend judgment, and to oscillate. Now, the impact on human identity. How can we know who we are unless we know the cosmos? That is, unless we know the creative will and mind of God. The ancient Hebrews and the ancient Greeks had knowledge of God through the universe cosmos that they recognized. They were thus able to know who they were in relation to the creative will and mind of God. It was obvious that creation was complete and that human action had no part in this divine action. It was obvious that human achievements could never hope to compare to the divine achievement of the universe cosmos. Where were you when I laid the foundations of the world? This is from Job chapter 38, verse 4. It is amazing how much time the Greek philosophers spent trying to provide guidance for the highest object available through human effort, the political community. Plato saw a direct analogy between the creation of the universe cosmos by God and the creation of the state by men. Yet he had no doubts about the relative insignificance of the state when compared to the universe cosmos. In his treatise on politics, Aristotle made it clear that politics was not the highest science, because man was not the most noble object in the universe. There was something much more noble, the material of which the heavens are made. For the Greeks, there was something contemptible about human achievements, because they were so temporary. The heavens, however, were made of incorruptible material that was eternal. Man's highest activity, therefore, was not politics, but the contemplation of the cosmos, especially that part of the cosmos that was incorruptible, the heavens. Just as greater knowledge of the universe weakened the rational grounds for belief in God, so also it dissolved human identity. It is not only teens who do not know what they want to be. Adults do not know who they are. Now, this section is religion without a story of creation. Until nearly 300 years ago, it was the nearly universal opinion of the greatest scientific and religious minds that the universe was a completed work of divine architecture. While the Hebrew model of the universe had been abandoned before the time of Christ, the Greek model served as an adequate substitute. The biblical creation story with the water above the firmament may have been an embarrassment as the Greek model of the universe gained ground. But as long as the universe could be conceived as a completed architectural work, the details of the story of creation were not important. As long as the current model of the universe was of the same kind as the one envisioned by the Hebrew creation story, some sloppiness of fit between the story and the accepted universe could be tolerated. With the dissolution of the vault of heaven, the situation is entirely different. The transition we have now made with the help of modern science is not merely a transition from one idea of cosmos to another. It is a transition from a universe that is a cosmos to one that is not a cosmos. The lack of fit between the Hebrew creation story and the modern universe is now so total that it is an obvious falsehood. Religion can no longer claim to have an inspired story of creation that explains the modern universe. Creationists who argue against evolution seem unaware that Halley's dissolution of the firmament had struck a fatal blow to the biblical story of creation, long before Darwin set out on the voyage of the Beagle. This section is liberation from illusion. From the perspective of the defenders of the status quo, the negative consequences of the dissolution of the vault of heaven are enormous. The disappearance of the most potent proof ever available for the existence of God. The dissolution of human consciousness, rationally organized on the foundations of a completed creation. The opening of a major fork in the paths of natural and supernatural revelation. Yet from the perspective of those eager for change, the liberation from this optical illusion of the vault of heaven must be counted as the greatest single step in the advance of human consciousness. The illusion of the vault of heaven held human consciousness in its grip for at least 2,000 years. This illusion was the most powerful force retarding philosophy and misguiding the search for human identity. The bond between cosmos and universe has been dissolved. Human consciousness has come to the end of its infancy. The pain of loss can be reduced, even eliminated, by asking if the universe cosmos was an idea worthy of God in the first place. The universe cosmos was seen as an impressive architectural achievement. But is architecture the highest form of spiritual activity? Would we be wrong in looking for a divine idea with more spiritual substance than the universe cosmos? Instead of complaining about a sense of religious drift, we must see our time as a time of reconceiving the divine idea, and of rediscovering our identity in the light of this idea.